Okay, we are back on the Ultimate Sports Network, and we are going to take a look at this fight. Marco Antonio Barrera against Erik Morales. And we saw in a little preview there what they're bringing into the fight. This is fight number one of a trilogy, Mandalay Bay Resort. This is courtesy of HBO Sports, in case anyone's paying attention. Um, this is a good one. This is for the belt of belts at this point. The belt of Mexico as well as the belt of WBO and WBC or WBA or whoever it is. I lose track anymore. So also presented by Top Rank. You can see that as well. Recorded February 19th, 2000. Ring Magazine Fight of the Year. Gentlemen, welcome, and we're going to weigh on this one.
Hello there.
I want you to do me a favor as we do this, off out of your head or write it down or whatever. We're going to score this one because I'm not sure how the scoring of this played out, but I do, but I'm not going to say anything about that. But I want to see how we go it round by round. All right, so Morales in the white, defending his belt for the ninth time, or maybe the 10th time. Barrera defending his belt for the third time in the Tapia Silver Trunks. So have at it, gentlemen.
Well, you can see this wasn't only a battle of really, really good fighters. There's a lot of pride going on here. I mean, these two guys, they've been badmouthing. Look at that. They've been badmouthing each other for a while, as I remember. And the way the fight started, you could see that there's no warming up. They want to go at it. And two champions. And I remember, I know why you're doing the scoring, Frank, because I remember it was very controversial about the scoring. So was the second fight, and I even think the third fight was controversial. So you might have never had a definitive "I'm a better fighter," but you're talking about two. This is what boxing is supposed to be: is when you've got two really talented fighters, and you can see the left hooks. I love the way these guys throw left hooks. I think they learned the first thing they learn when they go in the gym is how to throw that left hook to the body, and you're going to get a clinic on how it's done here. And yeah, these are two world champions rumbling for pride and more. I think actually, oh yeah, the money is great, the titles are great, but this is a pride thing. If you ever played sports and you feel like your pride's on the line, you even go at it harder. And there's no way this wasn't going to be a barn burner.
Well, in the preview, Jim Lampley says, one's from Mexico City, the other's from Tijuana, and there's a regional thing, and you're from the barrio versus the guy from the major metropolitan city, and blah 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 blah. There's all kinds of things into this, but once they get in the ring, it's just lights out.
Yeah, it's when you think about it, it's the contrast of two different styles though, because you have the guy that wants to be on the inside, and you have the boxer puncher slash like Morales. In that first round, when you looked at that too, it really came down to Morales being busy late. But if I was going to score that, I'd probably have to say Barrera won that first round because he's a little bit busier and forced his style on the particular situation.
Agree.
And I'm with you there. This is the fight now. I'm looking back in my history of how I follow boxing. So at this point, I'm 30 some years old or something like that. My boxing has been Olympic boxing, Ali, Frazier, Foreman, blah 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 blah, Tyson, so on and so forth. I haven't been exposed to this level of these guys. We don't get in Midwestern the United States in Ohio, we don't get two Mexicans fighting too often, and so you're not going to see this on HBO, especially. And I believe this was HBO After Dark, if I'm not mistaken. So it still wasn't their HBO prime time. But this is a prime time fight. And as we've said any number of times, or at least asked the question, where do we go with the lighter weights? This is Super Bantamweight. We don't see that often. This is something.
Yeah, but you know what? When you were saying that, Frank, I was thinking back when I was a kid. When I saw these guys, and now when I see Leo Santa Cruz and fighters of that ilk, Abner Mares, it reminds me of the old days at the Olympic because and Ruben Oliveras was a bantamweight, but it's only a few pounds less than these guys. And
right.
Ooh, that right hand. But they'd fight hard like this. Ruben Oliveras, Jesus Pimentel, Chucho Castillo. You know, these were really good fighters, especially Oliveras, knocking out everybody. And this is what that always reminds me of when you have guys like this that are so competitive, and there's no backing up, there's no anything. They're just fighting. This is what you call a fight. And look at Barrera. I mean, he's just ripping those hooks, and Morales is coming right back. So this is a classic. That's what this is.
Charles, we grew up in the same area, so same geography anyway. So you might say Arguello, Duran, Benitez, but never against each other. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is pretty important to me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but like you said earlier, that it's one of those things that unfortunately during that time in the year 2000, we really didn't get a chance to hear about this or know enough about it unless you went deep. Because this is probably, and I got a chance to, when I watched it, again, it was like one of the top fights I've ever seen. Just because, again, the contrast in styles when you came up that way, and the factor that when you think about it, Morales was the favorite going into this. And that means that Barrera had to literally change the way this fight was supposed to be, because the game plan for Morales was to stay away, box, use his jab, and basically cut up Barrera any way that he could. Yeah, and then you saw there too. But Barrera was strong. He was relentless in his approach, and he made Morales change the way that he fought for the most part. And I think that really that really showed you how tough Barrera was. And again, if I was going to score that second round, I would have given it again to Barrera because he was more busier. He continues to enforce his style on the fight and make make Morales fight the way he wants to fight.
Okay, Jim. Okay, Harold Letterman has his little thing there, and Harold Letterman agrees with you. So, okay.
That's right. The catchphrase.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, this is just. Now I'm going to say something that. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm just echoing what Charles was saying. The second round. I mean, Barrera is just it's like Barrera's landing the heavier shots. Morales might be throwing some more punches, but Barrera's landing more consistently. I think his percentage is higher, and he looks. You know how they say they talk about ring generalship and all that. It looks like just watching it right now that Barrera is in control. You know, it looks like he's the man. He's in charge right now. Morales is fighting well, but Barrera has the edge. He's bringing the fight to Morales. But then that's what makes boxing so hard to score sometimes. Yeah, you can be bringing the fight, but if you're getting tattooed with punches, little punches on the inside, those are points, like that little left hook that Morales just scored. So sometimes it really is hard to judge. Now, Morales is doing better here than he's been doing. There's that left hook that I left.
The cut arm, yeah. See, here's my take on it right now. Morales might be throwing more punches, but Barrera's punches are more judicious and more telling.
Accurate.
Yeah. So, and I don't know what that means.
It's very subjective.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I know too. As we go into this, when you look into the end of this third round, the one thing you must notice about Barrera is he is prepared to do anything to win this fight. And so I think you should watch closely as we move on with low blows and elbows, whatever he has to do. He is prepared to do whatever by any means necessary to win this fight. And I think that might be a little shocker to Morales from that standpoint too. Again, as you mentioned in that third round, Barrera was more of the guy that kind of enforced his will. So, I mean, right now I'd be looking at a 3-0 shutout. But like I said, Morales was rallies, and he looks cute with those left hooks that John talked about. But Barrera is like, I'm going to tie you up. I'm going to hold you. I'm going to spit on you. I'm going to rub your belly, whatever I need to do to keep you contained. And I think, I think that's what that was, what Barrera has done, at least through these first 3.5 rounds.
Well, I think, okay, I have it. Harold Letterman has it 2-1. You have it 3-0. I have it 3-0 Barrera.
I have it 2-1.
2-1.
I thought Morales stole that round. I did. He was a little shots.
I could easily see it being 3-0 Morales.
Yes.
If someone said 3-0 Morales, I wouldn't argue that.
Yeah, that's hard to say, but
I wouldn't. I mean, I could see you thinking that. So, it's.
I can see 2-1 as well. I mean, it depends on it. For me, and the reason why I said 3-0 is because Morales rallied late. And
I thought he stole the round.
Yeah, and I understand that. I think for me that lateness was too late. I needed more early.
Right.
And that's why I would say 3-0. But I could easily see why you could say it could be you get that round to Morales, because it's how you look at it and what you perceive to be the most damaging of punches in the sequence or in the round, that part of the round.
Well, what I see, just as other than oh my goodness, is a great fight thing, and I'm just going to change my opinion there. I see Morales moving backwards a little bit more than Barrera, but now Barrera's kind of backing up, trying to lull him to sleep and bringing him in. So what I was going to say earlier, which I know isn't possible, but I'm just going to shut up and watch the fight. I know it's not possible for me to do that, but I would like to be able to do that. But this is the thing of the three of us in a room watching the fight like we're doing now. It's like, oh my goodness. Oh, did you? What? How did he do that?
Well, it's the Barrera's body work is really impressive. If you guys have noticed that, I mean, even if he's not hitting Morales right on the gut, he's hitting him on the arms. I mean, he's just consistently working the body. And the left hook, I love, like I've said now 3 times, I love the left hooks and the right hand, mostly that way he digs that left hook in. And Morales does it at times too. But Barrera just looks like the stronger guy. That's the feeling I get watching it right here. He looks like the more dangerous guy. It's just like Morales can't hurt Barrera at this point, even though I think he came in with like 28, I was a little low there, 28 knockouts at 35 fights. So he definitely was a puncher. But look at Barrera. They want to go at it, and I love that. I mean, there's a lot of looking at each other like, okay, yeah, all right, end of the round, I'm there. See, now I would have agreed with that too. I would have it 2-2. I thought Morales took that round.
Okay. Yeah, I would have gave that to Morales. I would go 3-1 right now, because he was like standing up and moving forward. The biggest thing too is I think that we don't like to use history on this too much, and when we talked about boxing, as far as going into it, but you had to think too earlier what had happened with Barrera and the losses that he had, to guys who could punch, and would kind of remind you a little bit of what Morales was doing here, which is why this was even more impressive to me, because it's like, they're banging, and you're saying to yourself, how does it stop? That's the point of me where I think we're kind of used to Morales getting warmed up, and once he starts catching guys, he gets to that point where, okay, we're going to get close to finishing this. I'm going to show you I'm the dominant guy. And Barrera's like, no, I'm going to lean on again. I'm going to hit you low. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to let you know that this is how this fight is going, and it's going to take everything you had to win. And knowing how great El Tierra was, that we know how he was and his ability to dominate, you had to be impressed. You had to be impressed by Barrera right now.
He's dominating.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you're talking about Barrera doing, there's a little tape rub across the eyebrows there by Morales. So, this is one of those fights where when either one of them were fighting somebody else, this fight's probably over by now.
Yeah.
Look at him. I mean, he's clocking Barrera with wicked shots. And here comes Barrera.
Here it comes.
He comes back.
Uh-oh. And you can see Morales thinking, I better hold, but I don't want to hold.
Yeah.
Morales
was like, holy crap. I thought I was going to knock him out right then.
Yeah, Barrera's like, not so fast, my friend.
I'm tired now. Okay, let's go again.
He's like, I'm not hurt.
That was a mutual TO right there. Boom, boom, boom.
There's that left hook.
That was a Ron Lau move.
Yep. Boom.
That was a Ron Lau move.
Yep, you're right. Oh, hit on the brake. Okay. That's all right.
Another tactic.
Yep.
I told you, by any means.
But nothing dirty, just a little past the norm.
Depends on who you ask. You keep
sure.
watching this.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I agree with that. But
It's
let's
a
put
fight.
it this way. It's nothing the other guy's not going to do either. So you're not all that concerned about it. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this too, though. I think that it's whatever's allowed, and we just have to be honest about that.
There you go. There you go.
That's what boxing is. It says protect yourself at all times,
right?
And you just have to be honest about that. So I give you that. So it depends on another referee. Probably would have been totally different. Anyway, with that being said, after 5 rounds, 3-2, 3-2, Barrera over Morales.
John.
Yep.
3-2.
Same
thing. 3-2. Yep. Same thing. Now, as I was doing the research for this, I never knew this, and you guys might have known it, and people watching may have known it, but I thought it was interesting. I always wondered what did Tapia mean on the back of his Barrera's shorts. I thought maybe it was Johnny Tapia or something like that. That's his mother's maiden name.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that's what that means. And then of course you've got Tijuana on the back of El Terrible's shorts. So we're fighting for something here. And sometimes it's just something to put on the shorts so it fills out. But there's meaning to what they're doing here. So Morales has always said he's fighting to represent Tijuana because who else came out of Tijuana? And Barrera is fighting to represent his mother. So I thought, that was pretty interesting. So, but that being said, that has nothing to do with the fact that there's leather going to face right now.
Oh yeah, we know they both were very proud fighters and very proud men, and they took this very serious. This was no joke. This was not a hobby.
Right.
This was something that they took very seriously, and this is what made them two of the greatest fighters we've ever watched, man. I mean, just from the competition standpoint, right. This is a battle. This is brutal.
and something go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's the styles. Their styles are perfect. You've got Morales, who seems to be a little faster, but then you got Barrera, who's stronger to me, and he can really take it. Morales can take it too, but and then you got all that other stuff, the grit and the determination. So you all of that, you never know 100% what's going to happen in a fight. But these guys, their styles were like Ali and Frazier. They were perfect for each other, and they were going to bring out the best in each other, and that's what happened.
I agree with you. I think that's part of it too, where that's why I'm entertained by it so much, because of the factor that it's clear Morales' team wants him to box, but he can't just box. Not when a guy's coming at you and he's hitting you with haymakers and shots and giving everything under the sun. You have to fight this fight to a point if you want to gain the advantage. So I think that I agree with you 100%. The same way Ali had to kind of bang from time to time with Frazier. You have to go into the well, into the pit at some point and just fight your way out.
Well, Charles, you mentioned something that's very interesting. Again, for time reasons, we've cut out the middle of the rounds. But in the middle of the rounds, Morales' corner is always saying, don't get in the middle of it. Keep your distance, use your box ability, use your reach, use your length, and pick him apart that way. And that lasts for about an eighth of a second when the next round starts, and there they go again.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's that point of it, too, where certain fighters can't help themselves. I mean, it's not like being punked. It's just, look, you're not just going to hit me and I'm going to try to walk away from you. I'm going to fight you. That's what you want to do? Granted, despite what my corner says, damn it, I'm the champion. Come see me.
I don't even know if it's a conscious move. I just think that once these two get involved, it's I'm going to throw, I'm going to catch, I'm going to throw some more.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, Charles. I was just going to say real fast, I think it's reflex with these guys. I think if you've ever seen some of the great fighters, when they get hit hard, it's almost like they're insulted. It's like, you hit me? All right, I'm going to hit you. I'm not moving. I'm going to hit you back for hitting me like there. Right. I mean, there's this. They take it personally, so that's why they're so good. There's that extra determination that the really, really good ones have, and they just fight. It's like they were born to do this, and this is a good example of that.
Well, I agree with that too. My point, real quick, I was gonna say, I guess my point with that though, John, is knowing that his corner, Morales' corner, is telling him box. and that's in his mind. You mentioned about the plan, and he can't help himself, as you mentioned, to do it. But initially, he's supposed to go out there and stay mobile, move around, box this guy, stay away from me.
Yeah, well, real fast, that was what Gotti's plan was against Ward, and especially in the first fight. And the minute he got clocked, it all changed.
Sure.
And even in the other two fights, when he stayed disciplined, there were times where he just threw it out and said, I'm going to rumble with this guy. You know, it's in their blood.
I agree with that.
All right, so real quick, we didn't say anything at the end of the last round. I've got it at this point 3-all.
Yes.
Okay, and we're about to end round 7. And again, usually at about this point of the round, 40 to 30 seconds left, they find a way to catch a breather. They lean on each other and go, oh, man. And then they finish the round strong.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's been that way, too. You just look at Morales. This was a good round for Morales throughout. He's, hitting him with those uppercuts have been major for him in coming in these later rounds. But again, Barrera is right there.
Do you want to steal a round? Try it. All right. So at this point, I've got it 4-3 Morales, but it could swing another way.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I got it 4-3. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that 4-3 because of the fact that, like I said, he was hitting him with those uppercuts and kind of hitting him with some different shots. They kind of as if he was taking a little bit more of an advantage and keeping Barrera off of him a little bit more.
I think Morales has been more accurate in the last couple of rounds while still staying busier, but you can't say he's doing damage. Whether you can do damage in this fight, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like Barrera's going, oh, man, it's like, yeah, whatever, I got you. He's just the busier fighter at the moment, but not by a lot. And I think if we look at CompuBox numbers at the end of the fight, we'll see exactly what I mean by that. But, just because he's busier doesn't mean he's doing the most work. I don't know.
Yeah, and I thought maybe early in the fourth round, I like to use this term. I think Morales upped the ante. I thought he got even more active, more busy, and he started getting off first, as they like to say in boxing. And I think that's been the key the last few rounds. He's been leading more than waiting. Where Barrera took it to him, remember, from the beginning and in the earlier rounds. But here he's been doing the taking it to Barrera, and he's hitting him with some shots. He's not hurting him though. He's definitely he's making Barrera though comes back. See, and it's like that's that question of judging. He hits Morales with a really hard punch where he took like 5. Look at this.
Right. Oh, look. On the ropes, blasting him, and he's got a hold.
Yeah.
But
So
Morales comes right back.
Yeah. Well, the champions.
Yeah.
Heart of champions.
And what I was going to say a few rounds ago, and I'll make it real brief, that I'm not a real big fan of there being WBA, WBC, IBF, QVC, all these different belts, but in this one it actually means something. You've got 2 defending champs that have been defending their belts and defending them well. And it's like they both have something to lose and something to gain. So, I always contradict myself, which is what I do.
Yeah, but I mean, part of it too, though, is as you watch, Barrera comes back and pushing him around, he goes back to the one thing that helps him. It's either he's coming very closely, he's holding, he's grabbing him with a couple big shots, banging him, and staying close because he does not want to give Morales too much room to throw punches. Because on that road he's going right now, it's like I have the upper hand.
Morales, see the look Morales gave him? Like, holy crap.
Yeah, you still here?
Jeez.
Now, having said that, I gave Morales that round, but I could see it being the other way. Like
I gave it to Barrera.
Yeah, I got Barrera too because of the fact that I think when it counted, he did more damage, especially near the end with the 5-punch combination, which made Morales hold on for dear life.
Right.
He was holding on to like, damn, I don't want to get knocked out. And now again on the onslaught early on now is Barrera giving you the business. So yeah, great fight.
So you both have it 4-4. I've got it 5-3 Morales. Is that correct?
That after this 9, yeah. Uh,
I think, yeah, I guess so. I thought I had Barrera maybe. Oh,
yeah,
a little ahead. Oh,
You got Barrera up 5-3.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I've got Morales 5.
Or it's 4-4.
I think you both have it 4-4.
I think so.
4-4.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
4-4. Yep.
Yeah, because I saw what Harold Letterman had it. I think like 57-57. I think that's what Charles and I both have it as 57-57.
4-4.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, it's getting good now. Wow, he's literally putting that jab there. So when the boxing is really coming into play for Morales.
Right.
You can really see him throwing those jabs and those hooks and uppercuts. But again, Barrera's trying to say, you stay close, man. Come fight me and come see me in my pit.
Right.
Now, look what he's got to take in the pit.
Yeah.
Look at that.
This is probably one of the better rounds, though, right now for boxing for Morales.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, because he's been able to stay away. He's following the game plan they've been trying to get him to do for, 8 rounds?
Right. But you say that, and then Barrera clocks him with a left hook, and once El Terrible gets a little loose, there's that left hook over the top again. Ooh, left to the body.
Body, yeah.
What this is all about, let's be real, this fight was all about moments, okay?
Right, exactly.
It wasn't long-term type situations. This was about moments. So, again, holding on down. Again, telling you, Barrera was just doing anything he can to win this daggone fight, to tire him out. He's on a mission.
The old 26-year-old veteran here.
Yeah.
Veteran of 11 years of pro boxing, but 26-year-old vet, yeah. And you know, that's the thing that we tend to forget, especially this one. This is 2000.
Yeah.
So I remember this fight. I remember when it was coming out, and I'm thinking, okay, I've been hearing about Marco Antonio Barrera for a long time now. He's got to be in his 30s, easily. 26 years old.
Yeah, crazy.
26 years old, yeah.
Watch him at the end. But it's like one of those old gyms with bad lighting.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You
and
can't see the rim.
in there. But if you want to fight the best, damn it, that's where you had to go.
Right.
Smoke everywhere. People smoking cigarettes, cigars. You can't see yourself. The only thing you see is the light in the ring. That's what this feels like to me. You could be in the alley.
Burt Sugar off to the side with his big-ass cigar going
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allowed to smoke and everything. Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, so now I've got it 5-4 Morales. I gave Barrera,
and I got it the other way.
Yeah.
I got Barrera up.
I agree with John. I have 5-4.
Right.
Yeah.
And I could see it that way without argument. I could go, but I got to be different. But the thing that you mentioned, Charles, I'm going to say 2 things I'm going to get out of this. One, for those of you watching this as we've done this, enjoy this. This is what we get into. This is without, no offense to Jim Lampley and Harold Letterman and Larry Merchant, but this is cool. This is just 3 guys watching a fight going, oh my goodness. Now, we're trying to be professional about it, but we're doing a very poor job of it.
Can't help it.
You can't help it, right. And this is something this is a my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn thing. And maybe I'll have a little defense on your turn, but not really. Okay. Oh, boom. All right, your turn to land a blow. Okay, now your turn to land a blow. Now your turn to throw a combination. Now your turn. It's almost a Rocky movie.
Yeah.
Well, people who love boxing, I mean, you can love the technique people like Lomachenko, or even going way back like Willie Pep. Beautiful boxing angles, footwork, and then you have this that. If you love boxing, you admire this, because this is a lot of this. Oh yeah, that's technique, and we're talking talent. We're throwing uppercuts, left hooks, and right hands, but you're also talking massive guts here. You're talking grit and determination, where you're in the deep waters here, and you're wondering what these guys are feeling here. Is it woozy? And they're just, look at that. I mean,
there was woozy right there.
Yeah, I mean, he put him on woozy street right there. And there's no stopping. There's just go, 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 go. And this is what, if you love boxing, this is really an example of.
Here's where I see Barrera throwing a punch with so much on it that after he throws it, he's like, almost knocks himself out.
Yeah, it does come that.
He ends up off balance a little bit, which is not like him, but I think he's overcommitting because he has to.
And I'll just say this: those body shots from Barrera, right at the belt or below, are having
a few of them
having a major effect on Morales. So I gave that to Barrera. Yeah.
So we're 10 rounds in. You guys are what, 6-4 Barrera?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I've got it split right down the middle, 5-all. I gave that last round to Barrera, so I've got it 5-all. And again, if someone came out and said that, if someone came out and said they had it 7-3, I could see it. Either way.
I don't know about 7-3. I'm gonna go 6-4 because they both are bank.
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody has that much an advantage for me to go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go 6-4.
Well, what I'm saying though is that if you gave one of those rounds a razor's edge this way and another one a razor's edge that way, I could see it. I mean, I wouldn't lose my mind if I saw a 7-3.
I would, because I think I was going to say that is because when you say 7-3, even if you're using the numbers, right? Even if you don't use the numbers, it shows that at some point you think one of the other guys is clearly dominant in those couple rounds. That's just me.
So. I think that it means that it's just that they barely won 2 more rounds.
See, I don't agree with that because I guess what I'm saying, I guess it's closer because if I'm on edge on both of those guys when we're looking at those rounds, I'm not sure. I guess what I'm saying. I see what you're saying, how it could be 7-3, but I guess what I'm looking since we've been scoring it, it's been one way or the other for me, or too close to the edge, if you will.
Okay. I mean, my point of that is, it may appear to be a large margin, but it's really not. You could talk, maybe it's 2 punches here and there that gives the other one a round. I think it's that close.
Okay. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, but you would think that the scoring at some point though would kind of That's all my point there.
Okay.
See, and then the other thing that's interesting is you got a tale of two fighters in a sense here. You got Barrera, who's had to take, I think, some incredible shots, even though he just landed a pretty good right there. More, I think, than Morales. But then you got Morales, who's moving around more. He's using up energy in different ways, where Barrera has to have the energy and the resiliency to take those shots to the chin and keep coming back. So you got to know they're both tired at this point for different reasons. And that's why this is such a tremendous fight.
Ooh, left to the body again.
Still seems like he's got more pop, to me, Barrera. Like his punches are thudding, they're like,
Right. And then again, I mean, that the one thing that I can't get away from is Barrera is literally forcing Morales outside of his style, that comfort zone, that he's used to probably knocking the average guy out. Probably 75% of the people he fought would be out by now.
Right.
But that's where where Barrera is just, he's in that wheelhouse. He's on the inside. He's in that pit, kind of like the Joe Frazier. I'm going to be precision with my shots. I'm going to force you in here with me. And the question is, can you take it with my style? Because I'm not fighting your fight. I'm fighting my fight.
All right, so now we are in the championship round. And right now, I have it 6-5 Barrera.
6-5 Barrera.
Got it like 7-4, I think, for Barrera.
Yeah,
I'd say. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
7-4.
so
I agree.
And I think at this point they're saying to both of them, you got to win this round. Well, no, because it could be a draw, right?
Yeah.
It could still be even. So, and you guys are saying Morales has got to win this round and win a knockdown.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's got to come out and
going for it.
And Barrera's the one that's doing the damage, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's right. He's right there on him. He's hitting with those shots, making him bend down, and making him back up.
He's doing the damage low, and Morales trying to get away from him.
Yeah. I mean that's And then now he comes back with his more boxing and trying to get adjusted. But Barrera's like, okay, I'm gonna wait on you. But that's what makes it boom, gets him more boxing. And you ask yourself, that's the plan though. That was the initial plan. That's when we talk about moments.
Right. What is the moment that you're going to overcome, right?
Sure. Yes. I would agree with that.
You know what? If I was Morales, I'd be thinking to myself, damn, I got 28 knockouts and 35 wins. I'm undefeated. What is holding this guy up?
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm the busier fighter.
Yeah.
We saw the CompuBoxer punch stats whatever the last round. I'm the busier fighter connected on 30. He's connected on 62%. So, and his 62 is doing more damage than my 30%.
Yeah.
And I think it comes back to that strategy though, because Morales' corner is like, hey, stay away from me, move. Right. The hell with that. I've knocked out 28 of my 35 opponents.
Right, exactly.
He can go down.
Right.
He can go down. You know who I am?
Yeah, and at this point, guys, what can he do? I mean, he can't hide in the ring. He's got a punch. He's trying to win the round. He can move around a little bit, but he doesn't have to look to find Barrera. He knows exactly where he's going to be. So that's why it's so good.
And again, as we're saying, at this point, this is the 12th round. If you're Morales, do you think you're winning? Do you think you're winning this fight? I mean, do you think that you've got this fight in the bag? That you can let off the gas? And you can let off the gas in this 12th round? I don't know. Oh, that's ruled a knockdown. That's ruled a knockdown. Whether it is or not, that's ruled a knockdown. Right? So, by our count, Barrera's got this sewn up. Because you guys have him 7-4, and you've added another point for the knockdown.
Right.
I'd like to see that again.
Yeah, I have it 6-5 Barrera, and I've added another point for the knockdown.
Which means
whether it was or not, they called it a knockdown.
It had to be a 2-point round. So you had to do that.
It's a 2-point round or an even round. If you say that the Morales won the round, but Barrera gets the knockdown, maybe it's a 9-9. I don't know, but you've got to. So that's
the knockdown gives me 2 points. 2 points.
Right. It just gives you 2 points. Right.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement at this point. This is Barrera wins the fight, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
One way or another, Barrera's ahead. Some by more points or whatever, but Barrera's ahead.
Yeah, he. I think he won. I think I remember thinking also when I watched it the first time that I thought Barrera had won.
Right. So here's where we're at.
Now I have no doubt.
Yeah, now you have no doubt. Now, we can look at the numbers. Obviously, we know at the end of everything that Morales got the decision.
Yes.
Right.
And I had it written down. I'll go back to it. I'll find out the exact numbers of what it was. But Morales gets the decision.
Yep.
Wait a second. Now, again, I can see that happening. I can see it happening, and that's why I wanted us to score it. I can see it being possible that Morales gets the decision, except for the knockdown at the end. When you add that into it, that adds another. You're saying that Morales was up 7-4 your way, basically, and then you add in the knockdown. Oh, I don't know about that. That's a tough one to come up with. Regardless, it's a great fight. It's a great fight, and it begs a rematch, which we do get out of that. But my take on the whole thing, and I'm not going to go into whatever the scoring was. We'll get into that as we go along. But the idea of, man, that was my indoctrination to the defending home turf when you both have home turf. When you're both the Latin fighters, and again, I'm used to seeing if it's a Latin fighter, they usually didn't pair him with another Latin fighter and put it on HBO. They said, this is going to be a great fight. I went, well, prove it to me. They proved it to me. So, I don't know. Jump in and whatever you have to say, we'll add a couple things as we go.
Well, I was just going to say real fast, this is the epitome of when I was a kid, you'd hear, well, you got a couple of Mexican fighters going at it, and it's going to be vicious. I mean, especially if there's a lot on the line, if there's a lot to be proven, if they both feel was it this press conference or the second press conference that Barrera actually threw a punch at Morales, or Morales threw a punch? I mean, second one, you're talking about massive bad blood here. And if I was Barrera, I would have been royally pissed at that decision, because watching it a second time, I have a hard time seeing how anyone could have really given it to Morales. A draw, maybe, but I think Barrera won that fight. Not like 9-3 or something like that. I could see where a few more rounds might have gone the other way, but he didn't deserve to lose that fight, is what I'm saying. Right. And that's always subjective, like we said, because it was a majority decision, if I remember correctly. But that had to have been really hard for Barrera to lose. I think he was 49-2 coming in or something like that. So that must have been bitter. Probably made him more determined when they fought again 2 years later.
Right.
Yeah, it makes you wonder though, because the fact that some of the guys that Barrera lost to earlier, right, and their styles, you wonder was he penalized by that? You hope he wasn't, but I think he overcame what we thought he was. People were asking the question, even that Frank mentioned about 26, was he still the same guy? Because he took a couple L's. Was it McKinney and someone else that he fought that kind of took him down? But he came back in this fight against Morales, that clearly was considered like the king, right? He was like the guy at the time that was the champion and was putting people down with 28 knockouts in 35 fights. So when I looked at it, I said, I thought that, and not to jump too far ahead, but I think they kind of got this a little mixed up in the decision. And if you watch the more of the series, you know what I'm talking about. They should have switched it in one fight, and they should have had the other fight going the other way.
Right.
Yeah. But if you want to look at this fight, though, one of the things that we noticed is more in detail, more investigation. The knockdown that we thought was a knockdown wasn't a knockdown. Technically,
right?
Yeah, he pushed him. So that makes the fight even closer. But unfortunately, if we go by the rules of boxing, if you consider it a knockdown, there's no way in heck you can flip that and get that round to Morales.
Well, let's get into the technical part of it real quick, and then we'll jump out of it. All right, so we've got 3 judges. Carol Castellano scored at 114-113 Barrera. So you take the knockdown away, and it's 113-113. So there's a draw right there. Dalby Shirley scored at 115-112 Barrera. Take away the knockdown, it's 115-113. And then Dwayne Ford scored at 114-113 Morales. Take away the knockdown, he's got it 114-112. So, looking at the CompuBox numbers, you have total punches thrown or landed. Morales 319, Barrera 299. Percentage of 37% for Morales, 48% for Barrera. So that's that part of it. Get into that real quick. Numbers don't always tell the story, but it gives you an idea. So if we don't have that knockdown, it's a majority draw. Is that no? It's still a split decision. Because one of them has a draw, and the other 2 have it the other way. So anyway, but again, you can see that it's still close. It's still close, but the knockdown takes that point away. The knockdown gives it to Morales, I guess. So because you'd have one draw and then one way, one the other way, so you'd have a draw. Okay, majority is whatever the term is for it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but. So that's an important thing in the scoring part of it, even though I'm not sure that if you score it the way we were going about it, you still come up with that.
Yeah, it's bizarre, and I think I got to say something what Charles was saying. I think Barrera, part of the reason his stock went down is I remember he lost to Junior Jones twice. If you remember that, and that was shocking. And he did better in the second fight, but Junior Jones just outboxed him. He was tall and lanky, and then Morales fought Junior Jones and blasted him out.
Right, exactly.
And, as far as common opponents go, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. And Barrera Barrera could not beat Manny Pacquiao, not even come close. But Morales did edge Manny earlier in his fight. He couldn't beat him the next 2 times, but he did, and that was also a hellacious, great fight. But Barrera actually changed his style a little bit too. If you remember, he started doing it in the Junior Jones fight. He became more of a boxer than he was the slugger. He tried to do other things. But back to what you were saying, Frank, I guess if I'm going to be charitable, I guess I could see where, but some of that scoring is very weird to me. It wasn't, I'm not going to say it was 100% because obviously I'm being a 20-year Monday morning quarterback here, but
right.
Judging a fight so many years later and being there, 2 different things, as you guys know. But watching it like we did, just watching it, not hearing Lampley, we saw what Letterman was doing, but just watching it, I thought Barrera won. I would not change my view no matter what. I thought he won the first time. I thought he won closer, but I thought he won a little wider. And the knockdown cemented it, as far as I was concerned.
That's what I was going to say, right. Well, you look at it and you say, okay, there's certain things that you can say are absolute in this, is that Morales threw more punches. So he's the busier fighter. And normally, when I see that, or if I feel that, I usually edge towards that guy. But it wasn't so extreme, and the fact that he missed more punches than Barrera did, and Barrera's more accurate and more definitive with what he was doing. I don't get the busy part of it. I still think when we use ring generalship and all that stuff, I still think Barrera did more to win the fight. And then again, we had the knockdown, whether it was or not, it scored a knockdown at the end. I don't know how that plays out. Again, that's over here. Over here in a bigger sphere is, man, what a hell of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to get caught up in the end part of it and not give respect to what it is we just watched. Because that was
and real fast, what I thought of when I was watching it was when Leo Santa Cruz and Carl Frampton with Jackal fought the first time, and you had Santa Cruz who was busier, but Frampton was more effective, and that's what it reminded me a little bit. And who won? Frampton.
Right.
Well, see, second time Santa Cruz did better. Not only was he busier like he always is, but he had figured out Frampton a little bit, and he did more, and he beat Frampton. So it reminded me a little bit of that first fight. There were no knockdowns, but yeah, Leo was throwing a lot of punches, but he wasn't landing nearly as much as Frampton was, and Frampton was crisp that night. So there's that dichotomy, there's that discussion about busy versus effective versus ring generalship. It's always an ongoing fun one.
And there's one other thing, Charles, that I'm going to add into that, and this is where our shared history has something to do with it. I was watching your face for a good portion of this. And just like when we would go to somebody's house or have it at our apartment or whatever, there's that wow factor. And and I think that came more from Barrera than it did from Morales.
I would say you're right, because we talked about that busyness and the way that he was hitting him. I mean, he was hitting him with those. I mean, I guess for me, Morales had those. I wouldn't say they weren't hurtful shots, but they were more or less like those selective shots. He have a 5-punch barrage. But Barrera, on the other hand, was like, I'm here again. Boom.
Boom,
hit
boom,
the
boom, boom. Yeah.
I'm hit you here. I'm hit you there. And this on and on. And I think you made a valid point about when it was mentioned about the other fight before where guys were going back and forth. You didn't know who was going to win. And even in this trilogy, like I said, I thought Barrera won this first fight. But in the second fight, if people want to look at it even further, I think that I saw Morales starting to, what I thought, solve Barrera a little bit more. And eventually the way they flipped that was that they gave that fight to Barrera.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going, wait, what the hell? I mean, and he was solving him more. So I said, you can flip him. But I found that very interesting because you look at those judges, you're like, well, are those the same judges? What the hell are they watching? When you think about the interpretation. So I think it does fall upon interpretation, but it also shows you that these were 2 quality guys. They both were tough, strong, and they were, John, I know you wrote a book about a trilogy, man, But I mean, watching this, it had to make you go, damn, this is a great trilogy. This is a great series of fights, guys going at one another for three times.
Well, it's
absolutely, Charles. I was just to say, I was just totally agreement. I mean, you always think of trilogies. You think of Zale Graziano, you think of Ali Frazier, obviously, and Vasquez and Marquez, and then you've got these guys. You know, you've got Barrera and Morales, and who's better? Who won? Like you said, Charles. I mean, the second fight, I thought Morales won the second fight. It did the total flip. And I like Barrera. I will admit that I was pulling for him. Right. And I thought, well, he didn't win that one. I was going to go, God, now he's going to be 0 for 2 against this guy when he got robbed the first time. And then when the decision was announced for him, I was like, what are they balancing the books here? What's going on here? And I felt bad for Morales for the same reason, because I hate it when guys, especially, it wasn't that bad in this case, but when a guy definitely wins a fight and the judges take it away from him, I think that's the worst thing in boxing. I do, especially when it's some guy who's not known and he's fighting the main big guy, and he comes in and he does everything but knock him out and he doesn't get the decision. I absolutely hate that. Now, in this case, they did fight one more time. It was a hell of a fight, but these guys were made for each other, like I said earlier, and they could fight right now. I don't know how old they are. They could fight right now and be a great fight.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned something that made me think of something that is completely contradictory to what you just said. When the unknown guy gets the decision and probably shouldn't have, and again, I'm not going to go score the fight, but the Jeff Horn Manny Pacquiao fight.
Man, are you?
That was because it was in his backyard. It's in Australia.
It was, but then the sad thing about it was, and I don't want to get talking about too much about other commentators, but there was one particular individual that acted as if Manny Pacquiao was getting his butt whooped. I was like, he's elbowing him. He's like, well, he's cut. He's cut because he's elbowing him and he cut his eyes.
Right. Yeah.
Now, not because he put punishment on him.
Right. And usually you have to beat the champ to beat the champ.
Yeah.
And so he wins the fight. And again, I don't want to get into this because that may be something down the road. But he wins a fight that I'm not sure anyone else thought he would have won. But you're like, what? How? Huh? And it just slipped my mind. I'll get into that in a second. But the idea of this is what I thought about a few weeks ago when we started doing this. And maybe this is a series as well. And there's this, again, for some reason, always comes to Rocky at the end of Rocky 1. Ain't going to be no rematch. Don't want one. Well, guess what? You're going to get one because it makes more money. And that's the key to the whole thing. Let's go back to the business of this for just a second. And not saying that that's what this was, but as we mentioned, or at least as I mentioned, this is the first show on HBO, Showtime, ESPN, whatever, where I can recall it being two Latino fighters fighting and it getting that kind of buildup. You might get one against somebody else, but it's like, let's look into this heritage, and treat it positively, by the way, of we're going to look at these guys, and these are two of the best fighters in the world that you normal people, if you want to call them that, may not have heard of, but you're going to get a kick out of this. So we start seeing more, and I think this is from the business aspect of it, when HBO Sports was really in play, we're going to give you something that you're really going to enjoy. Like, wow, how about that? That was pretty good. And so, again, we're looking at a rematch or a trilogy, not saying that it was set up this way, but it's like, you enjoy this one, you're really going to like the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that happens in boxing a lot, especially like the book behind me. I mean, those guys and those other ones we were talking about, if the fight is really a good fight, you know a rematch is almost always guaranteed. In this case, it took 2 years before they got in the ring again. Back in the old days, it would have been sooner. One of them, but
oh wow, okay.
Well, and what John's saying is exactly right. Yep.
Frank, so there I am.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
The Riddler is back.
Let's not get into that. Not get into Batman now. Just wrote an article on Adam West, so you don't want to go there. But
Right.
yeah, but yeah, that's what always makes boxing so good. If you even lesser fighters, if the first fight is really good, they don't do it as much as they used to. They used to do it back in the old days where guys would fight each other so many times, like Jake LaMotta and Sugar Ray Robinson fought each other 5 times, right? They didn't. A lot of times it was they were the best fighters, so they couldn't really find anybody who'd give them a tough fight. But in this case, it's too bad it took so long. But at least it did happen. But you knew. I remember thinking, "Oh, these guys are going to fight again." I just didn't think it was going to be 2 years down the road.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
So go ahead, Charles.
Now, so I'm with you on that. I mean, but I think that's where HBO kind of got their they started kind of building up their image, where they start showing us other different fighters of smaller weight classes. And once people caught on like that trilogy, then it's like, oh wow, here's something else. Again, a la me calling you Frank, going Pacquiao versus Marquez. And I'm telling you, I didn't give a damn. They can fight right now. I'm turning that on because I know I'm turning that on. I always like Pacquiao. He used to make his name rhymes with his name and everything. But Marquez was such a tough guy that he was not he respected Pacquiao, but he was like, you know what, you're not that good. You're all right, but I know I could beat you. And that drive, like you mentioned, with this trilogy before us, guys not liking each other, just really competitive and just really tough guys. You got to love that the same way with Pacquiao and Marquez. Because Marquez is like, sooner or later, you keep letting me hang around, I'm going to show you I really beat this dude. And I think that goes a long way with, I'm sure Triple G thinks the same way about Canelo. So when that guy's like, sooner or later, and deep down, even with the situation with Manny Pacquiao and Marquez finally realized, I'm not going to get a decision. I'm going to have to knock this son gun out. And he did. He's like, I'm never going to get this. We used to debate this all the time, John, about what are we going to do this time. You say he need to box more. He need to be more busier. He needs to counterpunch more with Manny Pacquiao. We had every freaking scenario, and Marquez, to his truth, did everything they said he's supposed to do. He still couldn't get the decision. And he said, I'm going to take care of it. That's what makes this boxing, even with these guys in this trilogy, so amazing. Because you had the spectrum of Morales being the so-called more, can we say, boxer / polished fighter, right? To get somebody like Barrera's like, dude, yeah, you might be the golden boy earlier, excuse the language, golden boy earlier or whatever, but I'm not worried about that. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to do what I had to do, and I'm going to beat you. And I think part of what makes it more beautiful is it's kind of like that sparkle, beautiful guy and, the superstar kind of more glitzy guy. And at the end of the day, when we look at it and sum it up, that, in my opinion, Barrera won 2 of those 3 fights, man. And if you looked at it from the beginning, I never would have thought that I would say that Barrera would be able to legitimately defeat Morales 2 out of 3 times. That never would have, just because of the styles and what we know about them. I never would have in my wildest dreams thought that. But to me, that was the case.
Well, to piggyback on that a little bit, what this did, I think, and again, I'm going to keep hammering this point home, it made me expand my boxing horizons. Now I'm more interested to see bantamweights, flyweights, minimum weights. I'm more interested in that because this is still a hell of a fight. It gives me the idea to watch a Chris John or Nonito Donaire. It gives me an idea of like, okay, now I'm going to see boxing, and I'm going to see, for lack of a better word, brutality from a guy that weighs 118 pounds. Whoa, who would have thought that? It gave me something else to look at and something else to see. Also, as far as, geographic, socioeconomic, all that stuff, I got different things I can see now. And to HBO's credit, when they were in style, they gave it to us. If we're talking about Marquez against Pacquiao, if they would have given me Bobby Pacquiao against Rafael Marquez, I'd have laid my money down to see it. Sorry, I would have went Yeah, okay, it's close enough. This is what I got to see. So they gave us stuff to be interested in. And not to say they ran out of that idea in the future from this fight, but they gave us more things to say, all right, if you're a boxing fan, we're not just going to show you the heavyweights. And we're going to put good stuff out there because there are good guys out there to watch. And the other two fights of this, like you said, we can debate whatever happened, which is what we do, which is cool, but we're still interested. And something I thought of again a few weeks ago was like, as we do these things, what about the rematch? Was the rematch worth watching? So it may not have been fight of the year, but again, you go to Vasquez Marquez, you go, the rematch was fight of the year. Whoa, how about that? Or Bull Holyfield or any number of fights you can say, this was a great fight. It deserves another look. So maybe that's what we take a look at. But I was impressed by, even though we said that he lost the fight, I was impressed by Morales. I was impressed by Morales enough during this fight to say, okay, he won the fight. I got to go watch him again. Whoever he's fighting, I got to check him out again. I was impressed enough by Barrera to go, okay, maybe he didn't really, or he won the fight, but maybe he didn't win the fight, but he ended up being on the end of the decision. I still got to go watch him fight. So I give kudos to HBO Sports. I'm going to say nice stuff about Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant. It may not be the first time, and it may not be the last time, but it probably is. But it's something where you go, they put on a heck of a show here. So for anyone that is involved with HBO and wants to worry about our copyright, we said nice stuff about HBO, so there. But seriously though, it's something where we see I think we came up with a good one here, and I think Ring Magazine got it right. It was a hell of a fight, and I wish we had, during the time that it was going on, we didn't have to wait another 2 years for the next one. But the question I want to ask both of you, and really it's a rhetorical question, but as we're doing this, doesn't it feel like, hey, let's go, hey guys, the fight's on, let's watch it. And I think that's what's important with this. It's not that we're technically breaking it down and other than this, and he's throwing more jabs, and he's that. It's not it's like, what makes us move? What gets us involved in this? And this was one of those I think got us going. So hopefully the more we do, the better off we get.
Yeah, you know what? Real fast, what I really like, what I'm doing is I'm not watching them before we do it. I'm watching them again for the first time when when we watched Quarry. I did watch Quarry and Frazier the first round, and I saw that because I wanted to talk about that. But other than that, I didn't watch it anymore. And then these other fights, Diaz and Marquez, and then this one, I purposely hadn't seen it in 20 years, and I wanted to see it again with fresh eyes. So it just wowed me possibly even more. So that I really love, Frank, and the fact that we can present this to people who might not have ever seen these fights and barely heard of these guys because they're too young. I mean, this is a great documentation of boxing and what it is and what it is that people like you and me and Charles like, is that what the sport is. I'm sure it's brutal and bloody and savage and all those things, but there's also that competitiveness, that desire, that drive that we love. And you get that in these fights. That's what makes it great to watch.
Yeah. And I think the fact that we can watch the same fight and disagree on a couple things here and there and not break down to the name calling and all that stuff, like, okay, you saw it one way, I saw it another way, you suck! No, it's not about
That's next time, Frank. That's next time. You're on my list for today, so that's next time.
All right, Charles, we're going to have to gang up on it. All right, let's take it out of here. What's new on the horizon for everybody, and how we're going to make the Ultimate Sports Network and Real Boxing Talk grow? Chuck, what's up?
Yep, just moving along, man. Trying to make this work even more. Doing more on the reality of sports. Catch that at realitysports.com. Also, Reality Sports on Facebook. We have redesigned our pages, and almost, except for maybe one or two, maybe three max, except for three maybe episodes of this lovely program appear on the website. So you can go directly and you can watch them directly there. No disrespect to YouTube. You don't have to go on YouTube. You can click, plug and play, baby. You can plug it up and look at anything you want to see our smiling faces, except for maybe three fights. We're going to update that as well. Working on some other things marketing-wise. but the reality of sports trying to move forward. Definitely glad to be on this show because it's a contrast from what we do otherwise on the Goon Squad, which I work with reality of sports. It's a different contrast, and I love boxing, man. I mean, I love other sports too, but to have other people that enjoy breaking this down, and I love doing this with John because I mean, this dude wrote a book, man. I'm serious. I mean, I know a little stuff about boxing, but
Hell,
somebody
he read a book.
right, but somebody that has a passion that much to write, write books about it says a lot. I have a great appreciation that, and I think part of it is I love being able to not so much the debate, but the more or less just kind of have that conversation about that and just more relate the knowledge to people and inform them because that's what people want. If I get off of this real quick, people want to be informed and they want to learn as much as they can, and then they want to make their own decisions or not. But it's just that point that's very intriguing to me. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now, along with working on marketing somebody's cognac. Anyway,
you just gave me a new catchphrase: informal information.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm copywriting that tomorrow. So, all right, John, what's happening on your end?
Well, yeah, I totally agree. I just got to say something about this show. These shows to me are like learning experiences. Sitting here talking to you guys, it reminds me of just sitting on a couch with a brewski and watching the fights and laughing and cracking jokes. And that's the idea. I love that. I love the informal part about it. I don't have to be so darn serious. I can say something stupid if I want, act like a moron occasionally. Who cares? So I absolutely love that. Whoever came up with it, was you, Frank, who came up with this format, or we just came up with it ourselves. I guess we all deserve credit because it's working. And then maybe that explains. I was really thrilled. I told Frank this, Charles, that give us a little pat on the back that the Spinks broadcast really had a lot of views, and that really made me happy because I've been trying to. Sounds like what you've been doing has really been helping, and that's good because people need to see this. Sure, we're not always professional, but that's the point of this. I think that's what makes it fun, right? Is we goof around and we say silly things and we talk our gang and Sherlock Holmes and all kinds of things. So that's what makes this so great. Yeah, my books, I got 2 back there. I got a third one I was telling Frank about that's almost done, Charles. So there's going to be an announcement soon. More boxing stuff. You can find both of them, Intimate Warfare about Gotti and Ward, and then Blood in My Notebook about my experiences boxing on Amazon. They've both done very well. So that's just a thrill, and I'm excited by that. And then the third one, collaboration, so we're going to come out and make an announcement here at some point. I think it's going to be out before the end of the year. So it'll be a Christmas. It can be a Christmas book. So, yeah, a lot of work.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. On the Ultimate Sports Network's end, we are, and I just get a kick out of saying this. If you're watching this, you know where to find us. But okay, we got to ask the stupid. We have to like and share and all that fun stuff because that's what everyone else says. But in all seriousness, the Ultimate Sports Network TV station, USN TV, is up and running. You can either catch it on Stream, STRIMM, or on the Ultimate Sports Network website. Ultimate Sports Network's website, and just click on USN TV, up and running. We have, I believe, 7 channels right now. Ultimate Sports Network is a conglomeration of everything. USN TV is obviously, and then we have another channel for the real boxing talk, and everything that we've done is on there. So you might get some repeats here and there, but every new show pops up, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. We just loaded everything except for this particular show is on Roku right now, and that one should be up by the end of the weekend. So if you're on Roku, you get all the stuff that you can get on YouTube, all the audio stuff you can get on iTunes or Spotify or anything like that. So, we're all over the place. Come check us out. As long as we still have breath in our bodies, we'll keep doing this. So we have a great time doing it. I'm having a blast. As Charles said, it's a little bit different than what we normally do. Not completely, because I unfortunately still have my stupid face on it. But it's at least, as John said, it's the idea of, hey, a couple buddies got together, had a couple of drinks, the pizza's on its way, fight started, what's happening? And that's what we want you guys to get as well. When you tune in, that's what it should feel like. Unfortunately, it's not happening live, so you can't be with your own buddies, but call a couple guys up and go, hey, these guys did a show about, we need to check that out. This was a good fight. This was something we need to see. This is something, again, as you said, for younger people who maybe were too young to see this fight live, cool. And for the older people who go, I remember that fight, I think. Because as you said, John, it's always that, I think I remember how that played out. But as Charles has told me about my fixation on the Hagler-Hearns fight, are you sure you saw it the way you thought you saw it? Well, let's look back and look at it again, just to make sure. I'm still right, but that's another story entirely. So,
pull the tape.
Hey, Frank, real quick, what we really need to say about your favorite fight is the factor that the judges apparently didn't see what they needed to see to award that fight to Hagler. And I hate to say it to you one last time, but if the judges think that they should see a certain style from a fighter and they don't get that, they penalize the fighter. That's all I'm saying.
This is something when I was coaching basketball that I used to tell the kids. If it's not a foul unless it gets called. So if you thought you got fouled and they didn't call it, you didn't get fouled. If you committed a foul and you didn't think you committed a foul, but they called it, it's a foul. So even though I've ranted and raved on this for the last 30-some, 40 years, the guy that won the fight's the guy that won the fight.
Okay.
I can't argue that. I don't have to like it. I just can't argue. Like you said, the judges awarded the fight to Sugar Ray Leonard. It's not going to change. They're not going to go back in time and fix it. So, but where's the argument and the fun in that?
Well, we got to watch that one and score it one of these days and see what.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Still not going to change. It's not going to change.
No.
And by the way, to a little takeoff on that little poster behind you there, Dominique Wilkins won the slam dunk contest over Michael Jordan that year. And on that note,
Chicago, yes. Yes.
Human highlight reel.
I told him in person that he did. I was like, Dad, you know they robbed you. I met him. I was like, first thing out the box, I talked to him. I said, look, you know they robbed you in Chicago. He just looked at me and started laughing. He said, gee, I know.
But that is the fun of this, though. You get to be subjective with things that have already been ruled upon. And again, you go back to Roy Jones Jr. in the Olympics. Everybody knows he won that. You're not going to change the fact that he didn't win it. But you know that he did, and you can debate in infinitum if you want to. So, look, we had a great time. We're enjoying doing this. We'll be back next week. We're going to have some more fun stuff, some more toys, some more good stuff to play with. Not sure exactly where we're going to go yet, but it'll be fun. So thank you once again, gentlemen. Having a great time. Our internet connection didn't crap out at all on us today. So we're good.
That piece of tape worked, huh, Frank?
Without hair, I ran out of needs for bobby pins, so I had to go buy some bobby pins.
I knew that back scratcher would come in.
Charles sent one of his secret back scratchers. All right. Whatever works.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.